couple, I'd say we've gotten more questions on the subject of probiotics, prebiotics. Do you suggest them? What are they doing to our microbiota? And then what's the effect of toxins like smoking, alcohol, et cetera?
Yeah, thanks so much, Dr. Fishman, for those questions and for the opportunity to participate in this Wellness Academy. I really was excited that it's coming together. And so, yeah, there were a lot of questions there. And I think the first thing I would say is, the recommendations, what we're hearing about what kinds of foods we should be eating, fruits and vegetables, some, not a lot of meat, the recommendations for that, just as they apply to our own human cells, they apply to our microbial cells as well. So we're feeding not only ourselves, but our microbiomes when we eat. And so that's where we start, is, with as best as we can to reach a healthy diet. And, smoking and alcohol and, the lifestyle practices that we have that harm our bodies also harm our microbes. So it goes hand in hand. Then to your question about, should we be taking probiotics, prebiotics? For most of us, if you're walking around and you're not, overtly in having illness, then, just again, having a good balanced diet is where we start. And there are certainly, as I explained, a lot of now human studies examining probiotics for different indications, for different reasons. And there is a support for probiotic intake, for probiotic use. But unfortunately, and I think just speaking as a person working in the field, it is very difficult to make recommendations for particular preparation, particular strains. So I often advise, if you want to explore taking probiotics, you might have to try different products, but to always go for companies that have reputation, maybe that have performed the clinical studies themselves. So it is difficult to be a good consumer in this area. As a practicing probiotic researcher, I can appreciate the challenges. But again, starting with a healthy basic diet, including some fermented foods, eating fresh fruits and vegetables, those are all common sense, I think, recommendations, and I'm just going to have to repeat them in my answer.
So, Dr. Marco, what about this idea of prebiotics? And are prebiotics just fiber and food, or what is a prebiotic, and how should we think of those in terms of our lifestyle?
Yeah, that's a great question. So fiber encompasses many different kinds of polysaccharides and nutrients. That there's fiber that our microbes can eat, and there's fibers that our body digests. And so again, getting a diversity of different kinds of grains, a healthy diet, that will give you not just one type of fiber, but multiple types. And prebiotics are really a kind of a special category of fiber, in that they were selected or intended to change the microbiome. So again, just as I would say for probiotics, for prebiotics, which are these ingredients or like fibers that it's sort of trial and errors. Like I respond a lot to FOS and GOS, some of the most common prebiotics, but another person may not. So it's sort of trial, for yourself, individualized.
So what happens to the microbiome as we age?
Yeah, that's a very fascinating question. And we definitely, have changes over the life of our lifetime. And I assume you mean later in life, but I think, we could even start the first few weeks of life and the first year of life, how much our microbiome changes and develops and builds in some resiliency through childhood, through adulthood. And then we get into, just as our bodies change, as we're aging and growing older, our immune system changes, our metabolism changes, and then, now we can also, confidently say that our microbiomes change. Is it the secret to long life? This is certainly a question, and if you're over 100, you may be asked to participate in studies giving fecal samples. So maybe there is a fountain of youth in there, but again, I prefer going back to practicing healthy lifestyles, eating well, exercise, as it supports both ourselves and our microbes.
So you mentioned, getting those studies, that they're more and more available for common use, getting your microbiome analyzed. What is that, and do you recommend it? Is there value?
Yeah, I think as if you're interested in the area and you want to see what kind of microbes you possess, like you will get some information out of that. In my opinion, it's sort of nice to know and not need to know at this point. It's not like a genetic test that'll tell you your likelihood to have, for example, breast cancer. That's sort of much more further along in diagnostics than where we are with just the microbiome assessments that are available today. So I'm not recommending it. I think if you are, again, or if you have a lot of GI conditions, to see your physician and talk about that through dietary measures. It will change your microbiome as well, right? So nice to know, not need to know at this point.
So in that case, we understand that things change. What about issues around illness and the microbiome? People who have to take antibiotics, which are really meant to kill bacteria, and may not be able to tell the difference between the good ones and the bad ones in the gut. What happens there, and what can people do if they, in fact, need to take antibiotics?
Yeah, well, first of all, take the antibiotics. They're given to you for a reason. They're life-saving drugs, and follow the prescription. Take them till completion. That's very important that we do that. So, that we shouldn't stop taking antibiotics because we know it changes our microbiome. They will. These, as you said, they are targeting bacteria, and frequently antibiotics will kill the microbes we want to have there. However, it's most important we treat the condition, the infection that's there, and then we can recover. I mean, there is recovery after antibiotic use stops. Can have GI issues like diarrhea when or after taking antibiotics. I myself would have, yogurt, or kind of, again, having a balanced diet to help restore. We do know they do have lasting effects. So maybe someday we have other kinds of therapies to treat infections, or better ways to reinstate our microbiomes after antibiotic use. But for now, this is very important that we continue a healthy diet.
Well, let me thank you, Dr. Marco, and just say that, as in all decisions in health, we balance risks and benefits. So I think that's what you're saying here, and stressing that there might be benefits from avoiding antibiotics, but the risks in avoiding them when they're prescribed may be very, very steep. So consult a physician, etc. Good luck with your research. We hope you'll be back with us again as we evolve in this very, very important issue.